the sudden demise of Professor Gail Ombet, actually, it's very sad for all of us, engulfed in very sadness. In the sense, I'm sure by now everybody must have read something or the other of Gail Ombet's work, and also as a person, some of you might have met her personally. So I want to kind of share one or two things about Professor Gail Ombet. I met her only 3 times, Hyderabad twice, and then once in Pennsylvania University in 2010. Afterwards, I did not kept in touch with her. But as a person, very, very warm person. By then, when I met her, like in 2000s, early 2000s, she has an established scholar. But I was doing my MA, MPhil that time. When I approached her, she was very warmly, received me. And then that time I was doing my, MPhil, and then spend some time in explaining this Andhra politics and so on. Otherwise, her book, Dalits and Democratic Revolution, is a, opening in the sense like, it's a, it opened my, gates of knowledge to understand, Andhra politics, basically. If anybody kind of, read her work, Dalits and Democratic Revolution, I mean, so many books she has written, books and then articles, number of books, I'm sure you know. But, one particular book that, I sort of, stuck with, which of course also like, my first book, I read her, the first work, Dalits and Democratic Revolution. That's also because like I come from Andhra Pradesh. And then, in that work, she looked at, 3 regions, let's say coastal Andhra from Telugu country, then Karnataka, and then, Maharashtra. In that, she tried to look at, both from the liberal perspective and also Marxian perspective, and then try to understand, like, what happened historically to Dalit movement. And then, she points out, in Maharashtra, both agriculture as well as, industrialization, which led some sort of, Dalits a space in the urban center, and that actually allowed them to kind of, play a major role in the public domain, with Ambedkar and other people. Then, of course, she also points out, despite all that, these social the transformation, economic transformation, that did not lead to economic, social transformation as such. Dalits remained Dalits and so on, although some changes have taken place. And with regard to Andhra Pradesh, what she mentions that, there was a strong communist base. And so people, majority of the Dalits actually drawn into this communist movement, because of the commercialization of agriculture. Unlike in Maharashtra, in Andhra Pradesh, what happened during this colonial time, the commercialization of agriculture have taken place, not the industrialization. And so there was still, for land struggles and then wage struggles and so on. And then the communist leaders, coming from this Kammas and Reddy, the dominant communities, they were also drawn into the movement and so on. So in a way, the participation of this Dalits and then the non-Brahmin communities actually led to some transformation, but caste still remained. That's what she sort of theorized. And then whereas when it comes to this Karnataka, this what we see that Gandhian ideology, some social transformation, like in tune with the Gandhian ideology, not transformation as such, reforms, giving some space for the Dalits and so on. Not much really happened because of this, the benevolent, feudalistic leaders. Let's say like Maharaja, Mysore Maharaja, and so on. And this is kind of led to. I mean, this opened my world, to understand, our own history, Dalit history. Then obviously, several people also kind of helped me to understand Dalit history, Aloysius writings and so on. Ambedkar, obviously. Then, following Gail Ambedkar, I also looked at Dalit politics in Andhra Pradesh and then Uttar Pradesh. Basically, it's a kind of a comparative study and so on. Probably this is not the time to kind of talk about my work, but otherwise, as I said, Gail Ambedkar, really kind of done a great service to the Dalits, let's say, because not many of our people actually worked on this story, except a few people here and there. And so to that extent, we don't know what happened, during this, either colonial time or prior to that, or during the independence struggle. We are all familiar with this, modern India, I mean, after independence politics. But before that, we don't know what happened. I mean, Gail Ambedkar, and then there's another scholar who also died from America. Not getting her name right now. But these scholars kind of really help us to understand our history, not only just history, our culture, and so on, our struggles, and so on. Now, as a person, as I said, she was kind of a very, very warm person, down to earth. Doesn't matter you are young or you're small or anything. She's just going to give you time and then speak to her, very nicely. Never make anybody kind of discomfort or uncomfort with her. But I really adored her. But there was also fall in the sense that I come from this Andhra Pradesh, and then we had this subcategorization struggle movement in Andhra Pradesh, and then I support subcategorization. So we had a huge discussion in Pennsylvania University when there was a Dalit conference, international conference. Her major concern was not about this redistribution of reservations, reservation seats, few seats, doesn't matter here and there. But what happens in the longer run, because of this struggle, Dalits are being divided. There's kind of huge gap, rift that has been happening, and Dalits are kind of moving away from each other. And so unless you have a united fight, you would not able to kind of fight not just against the the dominant classes and then the caste, but also in order to achieve this eventual political power in democracy, you require a unity. And then when Dalits are unified, then you can look for you can forge some ties with other communities, and then look for go ahead in terms of achieving political power. But when Dalits themselves are not united, when there is no unity as such, then it's absolutely next to difficult to kind of to realize that goal. And now I see why she sort of differed with me, that I mean, in contemporary India, everywhere that we look at, either in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, everywhere, we're all a divided bunch. We're divided on the basis of caste and all. It makes sense, especially when Gail Ambedkar was saying that doesn't matter that who gets what. I mean, seats, few seats here and there. I think, but still, I kind of disagree with her that it's not the question of it doesn't matter. We as a people kind of believe in a democracy. Who gets what also important, but at the same time, that we should not allow this these reservation battles to kind of come in the way of our unity. Whether we like it or not, Dalits, we're all suffer, on account of our caste, and then a discrimination in everyday life, in education institutions, in offices, and so on. I think that's kind of what bring us together. Not just kind of earlier days, even today also. I mean, mostly now as kind of Hindu fundamentalism kind of risen, and then the ultimate the first targets would be victimizing us, and so I think this kind of ever more is required. Is kind of the unity from Dalits kind of definitely required. And it's interesting that for the last 3 days, after sad demise of Professor Gail Ambed, I'm kind of looking at who are kind of organizing and all. It's majorly Dalits who are organizing. I mean, I don't know. I may be wrong also, but generally, in South India, Tamil Nadu or I don't come across anybody kind of organizing anything in Karnataka, in Telugu states and so on. It's majorly Dalit scholars, Dalit activists who are kind of writing about her work, celebrating her life. I mean, that's also talks about the inherent casteism, the caste in the scholarship, right? Someone kind of who incredibly gave her life to understand the Indian situation, to Dalit situations, and then the understanding these Dalit struggles, for democratization, right? So in a way, improving Dalit conditions kind of for everybody's benefit. It helps largely the country as such, right? But the other, I'm sad to kind of say that the other people don't see that. I mean, in the sense like the very point that they are not celebrating, organizing any sort of condolence meeting like this, that tells us like the casteism in the academic institutions and so on. But otherwise, what we need to learn is that I think the commitment she has given, commitment for her beliefs, and then the amazing love for the oppressed people, women, Dalits, and then she done extremely hard work, writing and then bringing it into the public domain. I think that's what helped us to understand our own history, our own condition. And then we built knowledge based upon some of these scholars, right? Either Gail Ambed, other people, and so on. I think we need to kind of take that spirit forward, critically engage with these ideas in the history, in the contemporary period, and move ahead. Particularly, I'm sure you might have also read that recently in Delhi University, Bamas and then Sukirtra Rani's works have been removed. Okay, that debate is also going on, and so now I'm not sure like whether we will also get funding to kind of work on historical issues relating to Dalits also. I mean, not about they're trying to kind of rewrite the civilian, unless we sort of taking ideas from people like Gail Ambed and then unite together and then work together and then fight against. I think that's the what you call the whatever the lesson that she wanted to kind of give to us these days. I stop here and thank you very much for the opportunity again. I'm extremely thankful. Thank you, sir.